meetings today, and Chair Jay Powell spoke to reporters moments ago, saying he believes the Fed is on the correct course. Take a listen.
The U.S. economy is in a good place, and we will continue to use our monetary policy tools to help keep it there. The jobs picture continues to be strong, with the unemployment rate near historic lows and with stronger wage gains. Inflation remains near our 2% goal. We continue to expect that the American economy will grow at a solid pace in 2019, although likely slower than the very strong pace of 2018. We believe that our current policy stance is appropriate at this time.
And here to talk about the Fed and to help demystify some of their finer financial jargon is Professor of Economics Emeritus at the University of Massachusetts Amherst, Professor Richard Wolff. Professor, welcome back. What do you make of the Fed chair's comments just a little while ago about being patient on rate hikes? I mean, it looks like they're still on a course for 2 additional hikes this year. What do you think?
Well, I think the basic problem for the Fed is the same for all of us. They don't know what's going to happen. You notice that Mr. Powell said we're in a good place, we have a strong economy. At the same time, he then says literally 5 seconds later that it looks like the economy is going to slow down. Well, if you just listen to him, the honest thing to say is if it's going to slow down, which nearly everybody believes, then the only real interesting question is how much it slows down. And the very risk that it could be significant, and Lord knows back in 2008, it was the second worst slowdown in capitalism's history, well, then it's very dangerous to raise interest rates if there's even a chance of an economic slowdown, because a rising interest rate would make any slowdown that much worse. So this is a nice, soft statement, but it doesn't tell you very much, except that we are in very uncertain times, and that itself is a problem.
Yeah, I mean, you're so right. You go back to 2008. I mean, the Fed and everybody else, Treasury Secretary, I mean, they acted like it was a lightning bolt of shock to them that the financial system was about to, go into the gutter in a hurry, and they weren't prepared at all. You know, I'm curious. I don't like talking about President Trump as much as other folks around. But he's been trying to bully the Federal Reserve to hold off on interest rate increases for the last year, sending sort of tawdry tweets and taunting them. I mean, I know as an independent regulator in the past, that's not appropriate. But what do you make of that whole circumstance, Professor?
Well, what he's doing, what Mr. Trump is doing, is a kind of extreme or exaggerated version of what other presidents have done, too. Their major focus, it's the way our political system works, is to get reelected. Mr. Trump faces a reelection effort over the next 2 years. He doesn't want higher interest rates, even if there's a danger of inflation, even if the increase in money supply of the last few years has been beyond anything we've ever seen in our country before. He really doesn't care about any of that. His time horizon is 2 years. And over those 2 years, he doesn't want interest rates to rise, which is what the Fed was going to do. And the reason is very simple. If you raise interest rates, the cost of borrowing money is higher. It means your credit card bill, it means your mortgage, it means your car payment program. All of those will become more expensive to Americans. They won't like that. Their economic conditions are very precarious anyway, and that won't be good for his reelection. So he is in there pushing the Fed, taunting them, as you say, tweeting, in order to keep interest rates from going up. But the only reason for that is his own reelection, not a concern with the broader economy. He probably feels that if he can't get reelected, the condition of the broader economy won't matter much to him, even if it's crucial for the rest of us.
Right. I mean, I guess. And this isn't specific to President Trump. I guess it's with all politicians, and particularly presidents, although he's been more out there with his tweets. But I guess they just look at,
yes,
the sort of short-term political gain for longer-term potential pain to the economy.
By the way, you're quite right, because in the past, presidents have been sharply criticized when they started to make that kind of an intervention. So they generally kept it low-key, not so often, not a personal attack. they gave it less because it was criticized as compromising the role of the Federal Reserve, which is to be an independent guardian of our economic well-being. What Mr. Trump is doing, as he does in so many areas, he's basically trampling on that tradition. He is increasing, not decreasing, the level of public pressure he puts on them. It means that the Federal Reserve can't make a decision based on the economy because they're afraid either of what he'll say in criticism of them, or they're afraid that they'll compromise their independence, which they have slowly tried to build up. In other words, he's doing what's good for him, and the wreckage, the chips are just falling all over the place, and we will all have to live with the results.
Yeah, one of the things I really enjoyed when I was a financial regulator was once I was confirmed by the Senate, I couldn't be fired, so I could say what I want, and as people who know me know, I did. It's a great attribute of independent agencies. We're sort of running out of time, as we always do with you. We love having you on, but let me ask you one thing. We talk about all this financial jargon, and we'll have you on to do more of it, but let me ask you about the Phillips curve. We hear that talked about. We heard about it today with the chair. Explain the Phillips curve to all the boom busters, Professor.
Very easy to do. It's named after, as you might have guessed, an economist named Phillips. And what he's famous for is having charted, on a graph, that the lower the unemployment rate in general, the more rapid the rise of prices. And the idea is very simple. The less unemployment there is, the more employers who want to grow can only do that not by hiring unemployed people, but by getting workers who are already working somewhere else. And the way you do that is offer them a wage increase. And then the final idea is if wages are going up because of low unemployment, employers will try to pass on the cost of higher wages to their customers in the form of higher prices. So what the Phillips curve does is show the relationship between the rate of unemployment and the rate at which prices are rising.
You did a great job of explaining that, but easy, as the tightrope walker says. Easy for you, my friend. Professor of Economics Emeritus at the University of Massachusetts, Amherst. Thank you so much, Professor. Sure appreciate it.
Glad to be here.